Hi, my name is Paolo Cattaneo, and for the past 6 years I've been traveling around the world with my 1190 adventure. Today I want to give you some insight about the motorcycle tires I tried during my travels. These details are based on personal experience and during real-life adventures. Most of my traveling have been done with a fully loaded motorcycle and generally adopting a conservative way of riding. Well, at least most of the times. Continental put these tires on the market a long time ago. In my opinion, this is one of the best performing tires for adventure bikes. Really great on most surfaces. The TKC70 have outstanding performances on tarmac and great grip on off-road. Overall, they have a decent longevity, lasting averagely 10,000 kilometers. There's an evident irregular wearing on the front tire, but that doesn't really affect the riding experience. On wet surfaces behave quite well, or as well as a 70-30 tire could behave. The overall performances of the tire start to decrease once it reaches the 30% of its lifespan. So, one good feature about the tire is that the off-road capabilities, which are really surprising for the tread of the tire. The cons is probably the price and the longevity. Continental now came out with a more robust 70-30 tire called TKC 70 Rocks, which has a bigger tread at the rear, and it probably performs better on the off-road sections and probably lasts a little bit longer. Czech Republic came out with its adventure-ready tire called E07 Plus or Dakar. There's been many versions of these tires, and I tried two of those, which the first version had like a kind of a central line in the middle, similar to the Cattaneo, but much narrower, and that tire lasted very long. Now the E07 Plus, it probably provides better grip off-road, but also probably less longevity. The unique tread of the E07 allows the tire to perform excellently in off-road situations, especially in sand. Although it lasts quite a while, like around 15,000 kilometers, the tire doesn't really perform that well on tarmac. Maybe because of the too hard compound of this tire, but when approaching turns aggressively, the tire didn't really perform that well. Overall, this is probably one of the best tires you can have on a long distance travel. So one of the good aspects of this tire is the longevity, and one of the cons is probably the road performance. Now the famous or infamous K60, produced in Germany, and the brand is known for one aspect in particular, the longevity. Unfortunately, it's not a secret anymore that this tire is absolutely horrendous on wet surfaces, but probably the German engineers thought, well, how many times you ride in the rain? Well, I guess we have to give it to Cattaneo for making the most long-lasting tire on the market. It doesn't really matter how much weight you put on the bike or what's the outside temperature. This tire will last from 15 to 20,000 Ks or even more. I strongly believe that the K60 was designed for the big adventure bike like the 1200cc, and with probably the BMW GS 1200 in mind. The K60 is declared as a 50-50 tire, but in my opinion it's better not to take it off-road. Anything except dry tarmac could be a problem for this tire. But again, the average 1200cc big adventure bike owner doesn't really take the bike much off-road. Performance-wise, the front tire doesn't really perform as well as the rear tire. Definitely not meant for aggressive riding. Another peculiarity of this tire are the super hard shoulders. Breaking the beads and changing the tires by yourself without a proper equipment could be a proper workout. So one of the good features about this tire is the longevity, clearly, and one of the bad features is absolutely terrifying on wet surfaces. The Frenchies bring this not so good looking adventure tire bike on the market, targeting mainly big bore machines. The Anarchy Adventure are built with a hard compound, making it probably one of the most long-lasting 70-30 tire. Overall, the tire performed quite well for the first 5,000 kilometers and slowly decreased their performances around the 10,000 to 13,000 kilometers. Then, unfortunately, they started to deteriorating quite fast, especially on the front tire, where the wearing became so substantial that I had to change my way of riding. The softer rubber on the shoulders disappeared turn after turn, and soon the tire became unreliable, especially on wet surfaces. Overall, the tire behaved quite well for a conservative way of riding, but it's clearly not a product that can be used aggressively like the Continental 70-30 tires, for instance. The Anarchy Adventure is probably a 80-20 tire or even like 90-10 tires, considering how it behaves off-road. It's usable on dry dirt road or gravel, but it has its limitations. One of the good features of this tire is definitely the longevity, and the cons is probably that it doesn't really excel in any category. Japanese design and manufacturer in Korea, Shinko created the 705 tire to address the big adventure bike market. In my opinion, this is the best tire for adventure travel and on a budget. Especially in the United States, you can find this tire for a ridiculous price. I remember buying a complete set of tire for 180 bucks. Performance-wise, they behave excellently on dry and wet tarmac. I have to say I pushed these tires to the limits and they behave extremely well. The tire is marked as mud and snow compliant, and I have to confirm that it does ride well on snow and mud. I heard a lot of people having bad experiences with the Shinko, but I had 3 sets of this and they completely blew my mind. The only problem with this tire is the availability outside of the United States, clearly. In Europe they're not really that famous. I'm not sure about Asia and Africa, but they're not quite easy to find. So one of the great features about this tire is definitely the price and performances. And the cons is availability. Turkey recently jumped into the motorcycle market with this brand, which quickly conquered the South European market. The Capra X is probably one of the best looking and top performing 50/50 tires on the market. The tread looks like an off-road tire, but it has excellent road performances. Once I fitted this tire, my biggest worry was noise and vibration, which instead didn't occur until reaching 50% of this tread. Stellar performances off-road, and I have to say quite good performances on tarmac as well. Slightly disappointing on wet tarmac, but again I felt like maybe I'm asking too much from these tires. One of the most outstanding features of this tire is the longevity. I rode almost 12,000 kilometers with a fully loaded bike and long riding days with this. In my opinion, probably one of the best 50/50 tires overall. One good feature is definitely longevity. And one bad feature is definitely the wet road performances and noise and vibration after 50% of the tire. The UK-based and US-owned company came out with their version of a 70/30 tire called Rider V54. The tread is very unique, crossing from 3/4 of the tire to the very end of the shoulder. Performances on tarmac are excellent, even at low temperatures. Definitely not performing as well on wet surfaces, but I could definitely say that I felt confident on riding on wet tarmac. The longevity of this tire is definitely not one of their key strengths. The tread is not deep at all and it's easy to reach the end of it if with some aggressive riding. Overall, a great tire for everyday use and commute, but I wouldn't use it for long distance traveling. So one of the pros is definitely the overall performances, and one of the cons is the longevity. The German Metzler brought to the table this aggressive looking Karu Street, claiming a 50/50 performance-oriented use. The extremely soft compound and the unique V-shaped tread deliver an excellent grip on off-road surfaces and a surprising grip on tarmac too. The front tire will wear out unevenly, but it will still provide good performances overall. One of the downsides of this tire is definitely vibration, which will occur up to 80 km/h. It's not a deal breaker for me considering the overall look and performances. One of the good features of the Karu Street is definitely the off-road performances. Cons are definitely the vibration and the longevity, unfortunately. To evade a little bit from the complaint of the customer about the vibration of the Karu Street, Metzler produced the Karu Street, which are like a less groovy version of the Karu Street. The Italian brand comes with its version of 50/50 tires, capable of discrete performances both on road and off-road. During my time with this tire, I didn't really get good feedback, I have to be honest. It's definitely not a tire oriented to performance riding. In off-road condition, the tire performed better than on tarmac in my opinion, but only on dry surfaces. So one of the pros of this tire is definitely the hard compound, which would probably be more suitable for long distance traveling, but the cons is definitely doesn't excel in any of the categories. The Australian came out with their version of the K60 with some extra flavor. The Tractionaire GPS is in fact one of the sturdiest and most long-lasting tires on the market. Like the K60, it requires a lot of effort to be fitted on the bike, so if you don't have proper equipment, definitely refer to a professional. The Tractionaire GPS is a very unique tread, which is also reversible. Same as the K60, people have complained about the wet surfaces performances, but this tire performed definitely better in off-road conditions. Somehow the GPS Tractionator is probably one of the best tires you can get for those longer straight roads in Australia. One of the pros is definitely longevity, and one of the cons is definitely they're not cheap. Dunlop came up with this Trail Max mission to fill the 50/50 tire market. Because of this very unique tread, I think that performs better as a 70/30 tire. I like the technology behind these tires, and I have to say the overall performs very well in dry and wet surfaces. It does have its limits in off-road conditions, but again, with this kind of tread we can't really expect much from this kind of tire. The tread is progressive and even have some extra grooves on the side to help the rider getting out of difficult situations like being bogged on deep sand or in mud. You also have a very useful indicator that says how much tread you have left on the tire. This helps a lot in planning when to get a new tire. Overall, the traction is great, but it doesn't really perform as well as another 50/50 tire like the Karu Street, for instance. In my opinion, this could be also one of the most long-lasting tires on the market. So definitely one of the pros is the longevity, and the cons is the grip on wet surfaces. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you like it, and please subscribe so I can keep posting these videos, and this helps funding my travels. So thank you very much for watching.